And now we're on to our first study, the Paul study, the first part of the Paul study, the Saul study as I like to call it. And I know this will offend a lot of people, and I just want to say before I go to offending people, I'm not offending anybody. I didn't write the Bible. So because I didn't write the Bible, I can neither take credit nor blame for anything that is within the pages of the Bible. All I'm doing is just reciting what I'm reading, and reading with a full understanding after being in prayer and being given direction in which way to go. So with that being said, we're going to start with Paul finding out if Paul really met Jesus as he said. And to start that, you go to Acts chapter 9, starting with verse 1 all the way through verse 7. And feel free to read before 9:1 or after 9:7. You can read pre-text and post-text all you want to. That's entirely up to you. But you start with 9:1 through 7, and it reads, And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest. Again, Saul, we're going to break it down now. That's how we do it here. That's how you get a full understanding. Again, Saul, being Paul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest. And that's understandable. Everybody knows that. That's what Saul does. That's what he did. He said it, admitted himself. He was against the disciples of the Lord. Verse 2, and desired of him letters to Damascus, to synagogues, that they call churches, that will be like churches today, synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. So, Paul, that once he goes into Damascus, if he finds anyone in that way, meaning disciples against the Lord, he will bring them, women or men, bound into Jerusalem. Today you see somebody bound, you find them handcuffed, maybe even gagged. So that's, let's get the picture, the full picture of it. Verse 3, and as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, meaning not quite in there yet, but near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. Again, there's that word light. Verse 4, and he fell to the earth, meaning Saul. Saul fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And the Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me part is in red, which means from Jesus, the blood of Jesus. That's why they chose the color red. Let's remember, the key point here in verse 4 is he fell. Paul, Saul, fell. Verse 5, and he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. Going against the grain, in other words. Verse 6, and he, Paul, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. Key verse here that ties in with verse 4 that says, Paul, and he fell to the earth. He. Verse 7, and the men which journeyed with him, being Paul, Saul, stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. And you can see up on the screen there, you see where they saw, where they heard the voice, but didn't see a man. Right up here on the screen flashing up. So, key point here again, verse 4, chapter 9. And he fell to the earth, being Saul, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Verse 7 says, and the men which journeyed with him, Saul, stood while he fell, speechless, hearing a voice and seeing no man. That's the first part of Paul's story. you know, when he's telling this story. And this is the story, and he told this story as he went into Damascus, and went on and told that, and he told it 3 separate times. So that's the first time that Saul, told this story. In order to find the second time when Saul told the story, one needs to go to Acts chapter 22. We can stay in the book of Acts chapter 22.